Welcome to the show. I'm Vivian Kopsinja-Birchall, your host, and my special guest is Ayana, who has an amazing project about, it's called Light on the Heart. Before we start, I would like to introduce Ayana to please tell us your full name and what your project is.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Ayana Bahadur, and I'm a rising senior at Acton-Boxborough Regional High School. And about a year ago today, I founded this nonprofit called Light on the Heart. And under Light on the Heart, I have 4 initiatives. I have a blog, a speaker series, and legislative campaigns. And my 4th project is the one that I'm going to be sharing with you today called the Little Heart Science Crate.
Wait, before we get into the nice project, tell us a little bit about yourself. You say you're in a rising senior, right?
Yes.
You're
yes.
a rising senior. What has that journey, the education journey, how has it influenced what you're doing today?
Right. So when I grew up, I've known I've wanted to be a doctor since I was 6 years old. So since I was little, I was exploring different things. Like first it was like a hospitalist, and then I went to be like a cancer oncologist, and then a cardiologist. So how I got to that destination, growing up, we didn't really have the resources to have like a really hands-on STEM education like I wanted. Like I didn't have the chance to go to the library and get books whenever I wanted. I didn't get to just like go online and watch videos because we just didn't have access to those things. So what I wanted to do with Light on the Heart was that I wanted kids to have access to quality STEM education for free, and especially kids that come from like underprivileged backgrounds. So my educational journey was kind of in high school. That was when I finally got the chance to like explore science. I got to join clubs that I now lead, and I started other nonprofits, and because of that, that kind of inspired me to kind of do more research in cardiology, and I found that that is what really clicked with me.
Yeah, maybe just a follow-up question to something that you just pointed out, that your access to libraries was a problem. Could you just share with us what some of those challenges were for the benefit of those other children who might be out there and do not have who have the same challenges that you faced?
Yes, so my parents are immigrants from India, and I'm first generation Indian American, so I am going to be the first female in my family going to college in the United States. So growing up, like I was born just a year after they moved here, so they didn't really have the resources to like buy 2 cars for each of my parents. We couldn't go to the library with a library card all the time, and it was just a struggle to like get to learn anything outside of the school environment I was in. So to kids that are in that similar situation, I would say that I think recently there has been a rise in the amount of like free activities and things that kids can access, and this is one of them. And I think that with like the rise of technology as well, people are able to access like more classes and more information. So to those, I would say that you can get to that point that you want to, and you can follow your passions, and eventually if you do figure out what it is at a young age, it will come back to you at some point and you will figure it out.
I'm so happy that you shared that, because there are so many immigrant families in Acton.
Exactly.
I am an immigrant, the first person, and I was also the first person to go to college in my family.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
a lot of what you say resonates, and the limited resources, and that's why it's such an honor to have you here, just sharing with us the projects that have risen out of your passion to do better, not just for yourself, but for the community. And with that, I just wanted to now dig into your project. What exactly led you to focus on the heart? Why Light on the Heart?
So Light on the Heart is based on, I started it because of my grandmother. So last year, almost a year ago today, she passed away from a sudden heart attack.
I'm sorry.
And the thing was that she knew she had high blood pressure, she had hypertension, she had like high stress levels, and she went to the doctors, and every time they would kind of just brush it off, not give her any medications, until it got to the point where she just had a heart attack and passed away, unfortunately. So
I'm so sorry to hear
it's people in marginalized communities. Like in India, we don't have the same care that we do here, and even here, people don't get the same level of access to care that people of certain races do. So I wanted to do with Light on the Heart was specifically bring awareness to inequity in cardiovascular care for marginalized communities. Like one stat that I found was that Black people are 3 times as likely to develop heart disease by the age of 60 compared to a person of white color. So this is not just something that you like read about. It's in our lives. There are over 700,000 deaths due to heart disease every year in the United States. So this is upfront. This is something that we need to work on, and this is something that I wanted to bring awareness to.
And those are compelling statistics, and one of the things that attracted me to your project, yes, it was inspired by a personal story, even though you might not be, say, for example, of other ethnicities like the Black people who are really disproportionately affected by cardiovascular issues.
Exactly.
That you are bringing to light something that could save so many lives through the education of the younger generation,
Exactly.
especially those on the margins of society. So with Light on the Heart, what are you mentioned earlier, your 4 core areas. Which currently is the most, is the area that you're focusing on the most, and why?
Right. So right now, my most current project is the Little Heart Science Crate. So this is a kit. So the thing that I wanted to target, I read this quote a while ago: if you want to change the world, you change the world of a child. And I thought back to my own experiences, and I was like, I want to do something to change even just one child's life. So I looked at a bunch of stats for Acton Boxborough socioeconomic statuses, and I found that over 5,186 students qualify for free or reduced lunch at school. So I wanted to target those students and get these kids to them so that they can get quality education for free. And I also saw that 19% of Acton's town, or 90% of Acton, is below the national poverty level. So 1 in every 5 people you meet is below the national poverty level, and that's just so staggering because you don't realize it when you're talking to someone, but you never know what they're going through. So I wanted to bring something that kids can learn hand-on that's not streamlined, like they have this creative approach that they can take, and something that isn't just about the heart. It's about science and research and advocacy and all these other things, because each of these different kits has something that caters to each individual. There's like the research component, the educational component, the artistic component, and there's kind of just like the component of trying to like find who you are. So that was my main goal with the kit. I wanted to give education to those who need it, and especially being from a community that needed it myself, I wanted to give back to everything that I've like had to get to this point.
Right, and again, it's something that is much needed in our community, and to see a young person like you take on this initiative is really humbling and also challenging at the same time to the rest of us. But just to a few follow-up questions from what you just said. One, you want to kids who are, you pointed out, for example, those who get food assistance in the schools to access these kits. How do you make sure that they actually access these kits? And also, just as a follow-up to that, who helps them who takes them through these kits, and how do you make sure that this project is sustainable?
That's a great question. So right now I am working with the principals of each elementary school, so it's confidential information to figure out which students are the ones that qualify for free reduced lunch, so I'm kind of leaving it in the hands of the principals. I'm telling them that I'm going to give you like 5 to 10 kits, and I would really like it if you guys could distribute them to the kids that you know need it the most. So there are 6 places that I'm targeting that I want people to get the kits. First are the 6 elementary schools, the Acton and Boxborough libraries, the AB Resource Center. I've been working with the head of that to figure out where to like keep them, and I want to target local places of worships like mosques, synagogues, and churches. And finally, I wanted to give back to the sponsorship organization that helped me through all this, Danny's Place. So the main way I would assure that people get these kits and know how to use them, I am planning a sort of like informational starting point. So I have 25 kits made. I want to have a sort of like workshop meeting where I walk kids through how to use the kits, and then I leave them to go do it on their own. And the thing is that each kit has very detailed instructions and what the final product could look like, and a thing for like parents to read aloud so that they understand what the kid is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you have amazing projects or collaborators behind this, where you've mentioned Danny's Place, which is amazing.
Yes.
You've mentioned the Resource Center. Katie is amazing.
Exactly.
But we'll get to that later. First, what is in these kits? Could you tell us more about what's in each?
Yes, I would love to explain.
Yeah.
So the kit has 4 main components. The first is called the circulation game. So basically it is a sort of board game that kids can put together, and it comes with these instructions on how to play, what you should expect, how to put it together, those types of things. And then I have the crafting a stethoscope, so kids will get 2 funnels, plastic tubing, a balloon, and they can listen to their heart. And then I have a blood compatibility experiment. So this is like the research-focused one. They have like the science journal where they can record their observations, hypotheses, and conclusions. And they use like food coloring to see how different blood types like interact with each other. And the last one is modeling the heart. So I have 2 clay pieces for kids to kind of like build an own model of their heart and label it so that they can kind of keep it with them and see how the heart works.
And is there an age group that you're targeting with this?
Yes, so I'm targeting mainly elementary school students. I was thinking grades 1 to 6 students. So I try to make these projects a little more diverse, and so that there's something for like every age group. Like the board games are for the littler kids, the research one is for like the older kids.
Yeah, because I figure I'm like,
Yeah.
it can't all be the same for all
Exactly.
the grades. So, okay,
Yes.
that's how you do it. That's amazing. And then about how many kits have you distributed so far to the elementary school?
Yeah, so I am planning to distribute them as soon as school is in session. So
Okay.
right now I've kind of just distributed like 5 sample kits to get feedback on how the kit is. So I haven't distributed it to the actual students that I want to target yet. So I'm
Okay.
still in that phase.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's an upcoming project.
Yes, exactly.
All right, and then what has been your most exciting, or I shouldn't bias you with most exciting, what has been your experience putting together these kits? What have you learned from that
Yeah,
process?
it was so much fun just like sitting in my basement, having all the materials just spread out and putting it together. And I think the most important thing that I got from it was community. So Light on the Heart has 10 volunteers, and we like got together to kind of put them all together. And it was really nice seeing other people get excited about this thing that I'm really excited about. And at the Danny's Place U project, kind of the event that we had, the showcase, so a lot of people gave me feedback on it, and I got to present to so many people, and I got so many positive responses, and that was really rewarding to see that what I had thought of has actually started to come to life and that people are receptive to it.
Right, and then as what advice would you have for your fellow youth, your peers, in terms of getting engaged with or being a part of interventions that help humanity?
I think that when I started Light on the Heart, I looked at the UN SDG goals, like the goals that said what are the things that the world wants to fix by 2050. And I chose the one I was most passionate about. I was like, healthcare, I want to do that because that is what I've liked for a very long time. So I would recommend start with the resources that are already there, look at what is out there, and then go off of that. So after I decided I want to do healthcare, I went through a brainstorming session. I was like, what are my passions? What are my values? And what am I doing to make the world a better place? And then I thought, what do I want to do, or what do I want to achieve before going to college while I'm still like at home and I have these resources? So I thought that I thought back to my childhood, and I wanted to make something that I have always like wanted, and I've saw on TV, like these little science kits. So that is where my idea came from. So, and then collaboration, that is such a big factor. Collaboration is key, because without a community, without people to back you up, you can't really get anything done, because the main people you're trying to impact is your community, so you need to turn to your community for help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said. Fantastically said. And maybe, I forget whether I asked this before, but what is your next, what are you planning to do next?
Yes.
In addition to these, of course.
So I am planning, so with my research, I saw that the main languages that non-English speakers speak in our community are Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. So I wanted to make these kits accessible in those languages so that students who can't really read or understand these things can get it in their own native language, and then they can benefit from that. And my other goal was to scale up. So I have 25 kits now. I'm planning to partner with Danny's Place again and scale that to 50 and then 100 so that I can get the kits out to as many kids as possible and impact as many people as possible. And my last goal was to create like a sort of community within the kits itself. So I wanted to have like a art competition with kids, and then they could like send in their art and then have it featured on the box, and so that way they could like engage with the product itself and with people around them.
Yeah, that's a brilliant, all those are brilliant things that I look forward to seeing your progress. I guess one question I would have, since earlier on you mentioned one of the things that the schools does is try to protect the kids who you're trying to target.
Exactly.
So as you're planning these activities where you're engaging or involving them in competition, what are some of the strategies to keep their identities hidden so that they don't face the stigma of, oh, I belong to this?
That's very true. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I think one strategy that I would take is, so everything that I do through Light on the Heart is through like encrypted Google Forms so that people can't see what other people say about their experiences and their thoughts. So I would have them submit like their submissions anonymously to me and contact me directly. And I think to prevent it from being like more of a competitive environment, I want it to be more community focused. So what I would do is have kids maybe like work in teams and collaborate, and rather than there being like a huge prize, it's just something where like it's a small reward where you can get something featured on a project that you may like to participate in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe the final thing, where can people get more information about the work that you do, and how would you want the community to support this work?
Yes, so my nonprofit has a website, so we're lightontheheart.org, and we also have an Instagram handle, so I think those are the two best places where people can get information. And for people to contact me, I would prefer them to email lightontheheart@gmail.com, and really anything that you have at all, any comments, any suggestions, I would be so happy to take them and hear your thoughts. So if you are interested in joining or just want to share a thought about any of this, I would love to hear it.
Is there anything else we haven't talked about that you'd like to tell our viewers?
I don't think so. I think I'm really excited to see where this project goes, and I'm excited to see how many people will benefit from this. So I hopefully you'll be hearing from me soon about some updates, and I hope that I can make a difference in what care marginalized communities get, because we really need more access and more quality learning materials and more people that are doing it. So
I'd like to say you are making a difference already by raising this awareness. So don't say you can. You are already doing it. And I'm so proud of you, of course.
Thank you so much.
Both as an immigrant and someone who is passionate about healthcare, you know, and an Acton resident, seeing a young person in our community, Acton Boxborough, taking on the lead on such a project. It's amazing. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for your kind words.
And of course, thank you for being my guest on the show.
Of course, I really enjoyed talking to you.
Of course, you're welcome anytime to give us some updates or to find ways we can continue collaborating.
I would love to.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching this episode. Till next time.
Thank you.